Ryu couldn't help but find it amusing. This was their first time meeting him, yet they reacted as though they had known him forever. He read their thoughts with ease, confirming that this wasn't just vague recognition. They truly believed he was a hero. Ryo thought with a faint smile. Ah, that must be because I saved their princess back in the 8th round. It makes sense that my face would spread, but I didn't expect such a warm welcome. They treated him like a savior of their people. And Ryu, rather than questioning it, simply decided to play along. After all, trying to explain the logic of reputation in a world where resurrection was possible was pointless. The eldest among them straightened his back and bowed deeply, saying, "We apologize for the wait. Please come this way. We will escort you to the palace." Ryu clasped his hands neatly behind his back and gave a calm nod. Very well. If the elves wanted a hero, then a hero he would be. They guided him to the warp gate, and one elder gestured respectfully, saying, "Please, step up here." The moment Ryu's boots touched the stone platform, light engulfed him. A heartbeat later, he stood inside the grand palace of Elsorium. The elders led him through glittering halls until they reached the guest chamber. Inside, several maidservants were lounging idly, but the moment they saw who had arrived, their eyes went wide in shock. One elder barked, "What are you doing? A distinguished guest has arrived, and you haven't even served tea yet." The maids nearly stumbled over themselves as they bowed, saying, "Yes, we apologize, elder." And with that, they scurried out of the room. The elder turned back to Ryu with a beaming smile and says, "Please make yourself at home. We will bring you warm tea and food shortly." Ryu lowered himself onto the cushioned chair, his composure regal, as though this treatment were the most natural thing in the world. Very well, why refuse? He had time to spare. His quest was already complete. As he leaned back, his eyes swept the chamber, admiration flickering in them, saying to himself, "I've visited Elsorium a few times, but it never stops fascinating me. Their lives, they're almost indistinguishable from humans. The elves' society resembled a kingdom so perfectly, you could almost forget they weren't human. And yet the items here, furniture, utensils, ornaments, were clearly human-made. Imported, no doubt," Ryu mused. Interesting. Officially, elves dislike humans for destroying nature, and yet here they are, living surrounded by human goods. It was a contradiction, but one that amused him. Still, he knew how difficult these elves were to win over. Among all the races, they were the hardest. Without extraordinary acts, like saving lives, such respect was unthinkable. At last, the maids returned, balancing silver trays, saying, "Here is the tea and refreshments." Ryu accepted the cup, lifting it to his nose. A strong scent of pine needles drifted up, fresh and calming. He said to himself, sometimes a break like this isn't so bad." He brought it to his lips. Slurp. The flavor washed over his tongue, crisp and refreshing. He didn't even bother suspecting poison. They had no reason to harm him. He was practically a hero to them, and besides, he trusted the reputation system. By the third sip, the door opened again. The elders returned, but this time, they were not alone. Walking gracefully at their side was a familiar figure, the princess herself. Beside her strode the captain of the royal knights, Yugrito. Ryu said to himself, so that's where they went. They must have debated how to honor me, and their answer was to bring the princess herself. Sure enough, a quick read of the elders' thoughts confirmed it. Presenting the princess was their way of solidifying ties with him. The elder said with a polite bow, "Black Scythe, how is the tea? Does it suit your taste?" Rao set down his cup with calm authority and said, "The aroma is quite pleasant." The elder's smile deepened and said, "It is made from tiberry leaves, purchased at a high price from the kingdom of Braham. It is said to clear the mind." Ryu nodded appreciatively, saying, "It certainly has that effect. I noticed your people seem to be in frequent contact with humans, despite cherishing nature." The elder sighed and said, "We cannot remain isolated forever. If there are good things to be learned, then we should embrace them. But don't mistake us. We are not particularly friendly with humans. We still remain mostly neutral." The elder's eyes flickered with caution, as if gauging Ryu's reaction. He continued, "Unlike with other humans, we wish to maintain a positive relationship with the Black Scythe, just as we are now," Ryu replied smoothly. "I wish for the same." For a moment, the elder froze, startled by the weight of his words. Then he broke into hearty laughter, clearly relieved, saying, I nearly forgot to introduce her. You've met before, haven't you? This is our princess." The young elf stepped forward, her gown swishing elegantly, and said, "It's been a while, Black Scythe. It is an honor to meet you again." She curtsied with practiced grace. Ryu took her in, her features more mature now than when he had last seen her. She had grown into into her beauty, radiating a poise that caught even his attention for a heartbeat. And in that heartbeat, he caught the elder's thoughts brushing against his mind. Even the Black Scythe is human, can't take his eyes off the princess. So, it's true, humans cannot resist the beauty of elven kind. Ryu suppressed a smirk. A simple glance had already sparked strange misunderstandings. Sensing the atmosphere, the elders excused themselves tactfully, saying, "Well then, we will leave you two alone. We have urgent matters to attend to. Please, enjoy your time together." But just as they turned, Ryu's voice cut through the air. "Hold on. Aren't you going to ask why I'm here?" The room fell silent for a brief moment. One of the elders blinked in confusion, his wrinkled face tightening, inquiring, "Why, you're here?" Ryu tilted his head slightly, a teasing smile forming on his lips. "Did you think I come to see the princess?" The elders exchanged puzzled looks. Their pointed ears twitched nervously as if the question itself was a trap. Even the princess, standing nearby in her shimmering white gown, gazed at him with wide, curious eyes. They were all waiting, expecting something from him. Ryu could almost hear their thoughts. He said to himself, his smirk softening into a charming smile, "No need to disappoint the princess." Then he said smoothly, his tone gentle yet firm, "Of course, I was concerned about the princess's safety. What knight wouldn't worry after hearing that a fragile lady had been attacked?" The words lingered in the air like sweet perfume. The princess's eyes widened, her cheeks turning a soft shade of pink. She breathed shyly, lowering her gaze. Clearly, she wasn't used to such flattery, especially from the man known as the Black Scythe. Ryu chuckled inwardly, saying to himself, "She likes that kind of talk. Typical princess." He paused, his smile fading into a more serious expression, saying, "Well, that's part of the reason," he added, "but there's also something else, something I wanted to confirm." The shift in his tone drew every gaze toward him. One elder frowned deeply, asking, "Something else?" Ryu's eyes glimmered with purpose and said, "I heard that Elsorium holds a treasure vault, passed down through generations of elves. Is that true?" The reaction was immediate. The five elders stiffened, their shoulders jerking slightly, their eyes darting from one another as if exposed by a secret they'd vowed never to reveal. They clearly knew something. One stammered, his voice trembling. Where did you hear such information?" Ryu replied coolly, "It doesn't matter where I heard it. What's important is why you've kept the existence of this treasure vault hidden from me." The elders began to sweat and said, We didn't mean to hide anything," another blurted, his tone desperate. "We never even considered such a thing." Ryu crossed his arms, his expression unreadable, and said, "Then you can show me the vault. Led me to the treasures." A heavy silence followed. The elders exchanged hesitant glances, their lips twitching, as if torn between obedience and fear. Finally, one sighed. All right, we'll show you. This way." As they turned, their thoughts, unspoken but clear, hung in the air. Where on earth did he hear about the treasure? The princess alone isn't enough for him. Is that it? He really is different from those lustful humans. Their reluctant faces said it all. They didn't want him near their most sacred vault. Ryu smirked slightly and said to himself, "Well, it makes sense. The treasure vault contains the legacy of hundreds of years of elven history. Even a hero would struggle to part with something like that. To them, I'll always be an outsider." As his patience began to thin, the elders, pressured by his silent authority, started moving. If it weren't for his excellent reputation, he knew they'd never allow it. They would have called it a lie and thrown him out. He mused silently. "It's not like I can just break down the door myself. That's how the system is set up. The vault was protected by an impenetrable magical barrier, one no sword or spell could pierce. Even Ryu, strong as he was, couldn't force his way in. He knew that all too well. He'd tried once before, in a previous round. Soon they reached the palace's underground, a vast stone chamber carved into the earth. One elder said softly, his voice echoing in the dim corridor. "Here we are." Ryu's eyes narrowed as he took in the massive stone door ahead. The elder continued, "Inside lies the history of Elsorium, accumulated over hundreds of years." Ryu replied, "I'd like to see it." One said, "Please, wait just a moment." The five elders gathered before the door. Together, they began to chant, low, melodic words in the ancient elven tongue. A brilliant ring of light appeared, swirling across the stone's surface, inscribed with intricate runes that glowed brighter with every syllable. The heavy door rumbled as it slowly opened, revealing a blinding radiance within. Thanks to our friend who supported the channel financially in the previous video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support the channel financially.